What's up, guys? This is the Gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. And guys, I want to share my thoughts on the shooting, what was it, last February, of one Mr. Ahmaud Arbery, I believe his name is, Ahmaud Arbery. Okay, now this is the guy who was running, all right, he was running through the street or whatever, and a father and son came with the pickup truck. You know, I don't know what it is about pickup trucks, you know, but pickup trucks in themselves have a stereotype, you know, especially if you're down south somewhere. It's like if I see a pickup truck behind me, I'm in my rearview mirror all the time, you know what I mean? Because I'm thinking, yeah, some janky shit has happened in pickup trucks throughout the course of Black history, okay? So, number one, you see the pickup truck, right? And, you know, there's red flags all over the place right there. But, okay, so the guy was running down the block, and we all know what happened. It got caught on camera by somebody who was following them, and, he ended up getting shot, and I think he was shot with a shotgun, which meant that dude was gonna lay down. He wasn't gonna get back up, you know, and it's very, very tragic, you know, what happened to him. And I want to start off by giving my condolences to his family. You know, I don't know the details about what happened. Nobody knows, okay? No matter what it looked like, no matter what he did, no matter what previous history he had, you know, no matter about him running up in a house that was under construction, it's like I don't see where any of that deserved the death penalty. What I think ended up happening is the situation just got the fuck out of control. You know what I mean? And there were bad choices made on all sides. And this is something that I talk to my son about all the time, about being in the moment to make good choices. So I just want to say up front that I don't believe that Ahmaud should be dead right now. You know what I mean? I don't believe these guys, you know, probably should have been in jail. I just think, well, now they should, but I just think that you have people who come together, you know, and maybe tempers are flaring, you know, it's out of control, and the shit just goes left, you know what I mean? So that's what ended up happening. Now, somebody has to be accountable for this for sure. So yes, I do believe that they should be arrested, they should be in jail, and they should get a trial. That's pretty much the way it is, you know, in this country of America that we live in. You know, when something like this happens and a life is lost, absolutely, somebody has to be held accountable. Somebody has to be punished if in the court of law they have been proven that, you know, this is something that is deserved, all right? So I'm still at that point where I haven't been made aware of all of the facts. I just know that the whole shit shouldn't have gone that way, you know what I mean? So let's just put it that way. You know, I don't believe he should be dead. You know, I don't believe that any of them should have been in a position the way that they were. I think that everybody involved, based on the limited amount of what I've seen, all right, this is how I feel. I feel like all of them, you know, shouldn't have been in that situation. And I mean, obviously, I mean, right? That's a no-brainer. All right. So anyway, I think what I take away from all of this without really knowing, and honestly, you know, outrage, it could be ahead. I don't know. But right now, I don't feel the outrage because I see what has happened. I see that it's tragic. I just don't know what happened. You know what I mean? Besides the fact that that young man is dead, which calls for those two, father and son, to be arrested. And that's where we are right now. You know, as far as the racist aspect of this, I really don't know. I do believe that the life of a black male has been devalued considerably in this, you know, in the society that we live in here. And that is very, very unfortunate, you know, but I think the worst thing you can do is when something like this happens, you start running down the history of everything that you consider to be racist. I think in order to remain objective and to get ultimate justice, you have to judge each case on its own. Because if you put it in a social context, if you put it in a historical context, then to me, I think that you run the risk of an invisible scorecard. You know what I mean? Oh, they got this one, they're not going to get that one. They got that one, they got that one, we owe them one for this. You know, in the court of law, it's like we don't want a bunch of protesters down here. You know, we don't want a powder keg, so we're going to go this way, you know, or we're going to go that way. And it's like, I think if people just were allowed to let justice have its day, all right, you probably would get a better outcome. Now, after letting justice have its day, if it looks like it's some bullshit and it looks like there's something wrong, then you have to take it from there. All right. So I'm a proponent of letting the family handle it, you know, letting them get the best lawyers possible. It's like if somebody wanted to set up some type of a GoFundMe or something where you can donate to their legal fund, I could see that. all right? But creating a media circus, down there, I don't see where that would help the family to get justice, or even to definitely rioting definitely out, you know what I mean? Because all it does is have a snowball effect where you see a lot more bad feelings, they just keep growing, and resentment keeps on growing to the point where it's impossible to get a fair trial, because how are you going to pick a jury that's supposed to remain impartial when it's been all over the media? And the media, as we know, has a way of slanting these stories this way or that if they want to play the audience, which is what the media does. The mere fact that this happened in February, and now all of a sudden we're seeing this thing blow up, just shows you the power of media, because if the media didn't tell you anything, well, you wouldn't know shit. Just like every other killing or beating or whatever else happens out here. I mean, there's another story out there right now I was just looking at this morning, where this kid was leading cops on a chase, right? And he was Facebook living while he did it. He was talking all types of shit. He was laughing. He was making like it was a big old joke. And then he ended up getting shot to death. All right. Where's that story? And he was shot by a black man. Okay. But I guess because it doesn't follow the sensationalistic narrative that the media loves to do, where they want to just like fan the fires of racial resentment in this country, they've chosen to highlight this story, over that story. Now, keeping in mind, the guy who shot that other kid that I was talking about, that was a cop, all right? It was a black cop. In this case, it was two civilians. It was two men. So it's not like, you have a situation where it's like cops, one of them were civilians who went the fuck out of their way to try to apprehend somebody, you know what I mean? So, the situation got out of control, and it's very, very unfortunate, because now you have a mother who doesn't have her son. It's like whatever those two guys came from, you can call them racist, whatever the fuck, but the fact of the matter is you have family who's probably crying over them too. You know what I mean? You saw a father who saw his son possibly being attacked, even though they were dumb enough to chase them, but, the father saw his son, and I don't care what anybody says, if it's a racist or not, if you see your son being attacked, you're probably gonna, want to have your son's back. So, I mean, look, let's just be logical, okay? So that's all I'm talking about. That's the fact of the matter. Now, I think the challenge on us, all right, is to really learn from this, all right? Because this is kind of reminiscent of that whole George Zimmerman thing. Reminiscent, okay? Like I said, we take these things as individual cases. But I'm just saying, you have civilians who feel like they're fed up. And there's a lot of us, out there who are like that. I'm talking about civilians who just feel like you're fed up, you're tired of this one, you're tired of that one. And so you got a lot of resentment. You got a lot that's boiling underneath the surface, especially today. We're all dealing with this Crayola virus thing. So, you got a lot of people like under anxiety, right? So the point is that you feel like you got to learn something from this, right? And I was just having a talk with my son probably a week or so before this, because he was outside, with a couple of, carefully selected friends. I let him have a little bit of social interaction these days. It's not healthy to be cooped up inside all the time. So anyway, he's out there, and he comes in and he tells me, Dad, we just had to run because, some cops came in, on the block and everything. And, we ran. And I'm like, you ran? It's like, son, when did I ever teach you to run from cops? Like, even if you did something, I don't teach him to run from cops. It's like, I don't know if you've been watching videos. I don't know if you've heard this on some of the, the hip hop joints that you listen to. Like, he's very big on old school hip hop now. And, back in the day, hip hop was, it was kind of anti-police, right? So maybe he's picking that up. But I was like, yeah, listen, we got to sit down and talk about this. And I had to tell him, because he had it in his mind, you know what I mean? And I think that in the black community, so much of our pop culture is geared towards being lawless and being rebellious to the point where you can find yourself in a bad situation. So it's like, even if you think that your kids have sense enough, not to run from cops and not to be lawless, you better double check, because that can end up costing them their ass later on in life. So I was actually shocked. I was surprised, because I actually come from a law enforcement family. So, my brother, God rest him, he was a detective. He started off a police officer, transit police officer in New York City. My father was a high-ranking police officer in New York as well. He rose through the ranks and everything. My mother worked for the Supreme Court. My sister's a lawyer. You know what I mean? My cousin is a cop. you know, and he was a sergeant, I believe, at the time he retired. And it's just like, we have a healthy respect for cops, you know, in this family. Police officers, good police officers. I've done videos about this before, bad cop versus good cop. It's like, we respect the good cops. The good cops have been there. They will be there. And that's the dilemma, you know, that a lot of the black community finds itself in, because if you're in a society or a community that does have lawlessness in it, you want to feel free to be able to call the cops to help. All right. But at the same time, you're teaching the kids inadvertently through our pop culture to be distrustful of cops, you know, or to be distrustful of white people. So, you know, this situation here, judging it, you know, on an individual basis, like I said before, it looks like a tragically unfortunate situation, you know, and I can't help but put myself in that situation where, you know, first of all, I can't see my fat ass jogging anywhere, but let's say I'm jogging, right? Let's just say the guy was jogging, okay? I know it's debatable at this point, right? But okay, his family said he was jogging, you know, so let's assume. All right, so I'm jogging, you know, I'm running along, you know, here comes the pickup truck. I already told you how I feel about that. Oh shit, it's a pickup truck. As soon as I see a pickup truck, I'm hearing ding 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Hey boy! I'm like, oh my God. You know, first of all, I'm out of breath, right? They come up, let me have a talk with you, boy? I'm just like, you know, I'm welcoming the break. Whew. All right. Hey, what's up, guys? You got any water? Yeah, ain't got no water, boy. Shut the fuck up. You know, he pulls out the shotgun. Hey! Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, keep in mind, guys, I've had guns pulled on me before, all right? Unfortunately, all right? And the first thing I do or have done when I've had a gun pulled on me before, not just by cops, I've had guns pulled on me by other black people before, and, you know, actually only by other black people, all right? So I had the gun pulled on me. And the first thing I was like, oh shit, whoa, you got it, man. You know, I don't know if you guys can tell while I'm sitting down, I'm a big ass black man, you know what I mean? So any move that I make can be considered threatening, right? So I am in a position of submission right away. You got the gun, I'm not Superman, you know, at least not in the street anyway. You know, so my hands are up, all right? Whoa, all right? What's going on? All right, easy. All right, my hands are up. All right, now at this point, if the guy wants to just shoot me, well then I'm just ass out of luck. All right, if I feel like, you know, like I said, you know, I'm trying to see it from both situations. If I feel like the guy is going to shoot me and death is like is imminent, then in desperation, yeah, I'm probably not gonna go down easy. You know what I mean? I just didn't. There just wasn't enough for me to see that, you know? Like I said, my first reaction is, whoa, all right? Now, if the guy is just like, oh, fucking nigger, you're going, you know? I'd be like, oh, shit, no. You know, I'm jumping up, I'm stopping, I'm dropping, I'm rolling, I'm jumping back up, I'm doing all types of kung fu shit, whatever I can do, you know, to disarm this man. And then perhaps what we saw, or what we think we saw on that video, maybe that would be it. Maybe I would take a hot one to the gut and that would just be it for me. I don't know, all right? But I'm trying to look at it from all different angles, right? I'm putting myself in the situation, right? My big ass is jogging, right? Applaud me. It takes a lot to get me to jog. I need to be jogging, all right? So applaud me, all right? My big ass is jogging, all right? I see a empty construction house going on over there. All right, number one, I ain't trying to go over there. You know what I mean? So I'm, like I said, just putting myself in his position. I don't know. Maybe he thought he heard cries for help and went over there. I don't know. Okay, let's get that straight. I don't know. All right, but even if I heard cries for help, I'll call somebody for you. No, seriously, that's how I feel about it. You know what I mean? I don't go anywhere where I know that I'm not supposed to be. I just don't. Okay, I've seen this scenario play out way too much. All right, and first of all, right, I should say that I did used to jog back in the day. My father is a big time jogger, and I tried to follow in his footsteps, literally, right? So I'll tell you this, all right, one thing that I can tell you for a fact, when I got into running, I only ran on a track. All right, I would go to the local high school, you know, growing up in Queens, that was Jackson. Jackson's not Jackson anymore, but Jackson High School. And I would run around the track. All right, so there was no misunderstanding about what I was doing out there. I wasn't running on your sidewalk. I wasn't running in the middle of the street. And that would be a suggestion, all right, to everybody out there. Keeping in mind This is America. You should be able to jog wherever you want to jog. I can already see the comment section now. You fucker. He didn't deserve to die. I started off the video by saying that, okay? So please don't do that. All right. All I'm saying is that in the interest of common sense, all right, obviously he did not deserve to die, but equally as honestly, he is dead, okay? You can't escape that fact. He is dead. So all we can do at this point, you and I who don't know the facts, is try to learn from this, all right? So we don't find ourselves in a similar situation. Now, if somebody comes onto the track where you're jogging and tries to shoot your ass, okay, I will have that discussion then. But for now, I'm just telling you how I used to do it. I used to purposefully not want to jog through the streets. Number one, I didn't want to see a bunch of people that I know. And, honestly, I was probably just embarrassed to be running around. It's like I don't like to be the center of attention or anything like that. I like to stay on the low. So it's like I'm not trying to jog through your neighborhood, through your windows and stuff like that. Hi, good morning. That's not me. It's like I just go to the track, I put on my headset, rock out my playlist, and do what I got to do. And yes, I am going to get back to that. And I'm going to try to get my son into it too. And I'm going to tell him, don't be running up and down the streets, all right? So I had to have that talk with my son, by the way, about just being smart. I told him, why would you run from the cops when you didn't do anything, all right? And like I said, even if you did do something, running from the cops is not a good idea. It's just not. It's like, don't do it. It's like, it's not cute. It's not funny. You need to tell your friends, because he was with his friends too, that that's not what you do, all right? If I'm a cop and I see someone just break out, when I come onto the scene, I'm thinking, TJ Hooker time, dun, 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 dun. I'm jumping over cars and stuff like that. Dun, 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 dun. I'm gonna get you. Dun, 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 dun. Starring Adrian Zemed. And who was it? Heather Locklear. Oh my God. But anyway, I wouldn't be doing that. Okay, so like I said, not to diminish what happened to Ahmaud, all right? I do hope that the family gets justice. I hope that the truth comes out. Unfortunately, all too often in cases like this, the truth doesn't come out, all right? It turns out that these two guys might be connected. They might have people who protect them. And on the other side, they might have opportunistic ambulance chasers who just end up pissing the fuck off like everybody, you know what I mean? Because now you're going to make this whole thing one big racial thing, you know what I mean? When it just should have been about justice. I told my mom way back in the day, I told her, this was like way back when like Rodney King happened, you know what I mean? And I told my mom, if I ever get killed by the cops, and I was very emotional about it. I said, if I ever get killed by the cops, honestly, I told her, don't call Al Sharpton, don't call Jesse Jackson, don't call Farrakhan. I told her, call a good lawyer, all right? Try to keep it out of the papers as much as possible, right? And pursue justice that way. It's like, don't make it sensationalistic and don't harp on me getting killed by anybody. I don't care if it's cops or anybody else. It's like, chances are, if I got killed, right? God forbid, if I got killed, chances are I probably went out trying to avoid the situation, you know what I mean? Whether it's fighting or whatever the case may be. I'm just not going to let somebody come up and blast me. That's why I said if that was the scenario that Arbery found himself in, or Ahmaud found himself in, then, by all means, that would be self-defense, all right? Keeping in mind, I don't know, all right? If that were the case, I would be proud of him for fighting. Just like with Trayvon Martin. If that were the case, I would be proud of him for fighting for his life. Absolutely. Don't go out easy. Don't go out easy ever. All right? That's not what I'm saying. All right? But what I told her was everybody's got to die in this life. All right? That's one thing that's for certain. All right? And I want to be remembered for how I was. I want to be remembered for, my fatherhood, my sense of humor as your son, as a friend, an uncle, all that good stuff. But what I don't want to be remembered as is somebody who took an L to the point where I lost my life. It's like, I won't rest that way, you know what I mean? And you won't be able to rest knowing that it happened to me that way. It's like, in order to have peace, like, you can know what happened to me and never forget what happened to me. But in order to have peace, you must realize everyone has to leave this life some kind of way. Whether it's a car accident, whether it's a plane accident, whether it's disease, whether it's by cop, whether it's by another person, a robber, something like that, whether whatever, you fall down the stairs. It's not fair, to make somebody's legacy the way that they died. You make their legacy the way that they live. And that would be my wish. All right. So with all of this going on, I just say I want to know if I can, as someone who's not really connected to the story, what happened. And I don't want to have to keep looking past the crowds, past the demonstrators. I understand why they're out there, because sometimes justice is not easy to come by. Like, please don't misunderstand me. I get that. Sometimes you have to fight for justice. But before you fight for justice, you have to let justice have its day. All right? So I'm saying it's not time for that yet, in my opinion. As far as those of us who are not in it. Now, if you're the parents, by all means, do what you have to do. If you're in that community and community activism feels like this is something that is necessary, then you do it within the bounds of the law. Anything else will be a distraction from the process of justice. So, if you're out there acting like a dickhead, honestly, and you're being lawless, and that includes violating safe distancing rules, because they'll get you on that. If you're out there violating safe distancing rules, you're not wearing a face mask in your demonstrations, well, they have the legal right to approach you now. So you have to be smart. Don't be a distraction to the process of justice, is all I'm saying. So, and by all means, teach your children. You can't always shield them from this, but you have to teach them. And lesson number one would be, don't break the law. All right? Don't break the law. Be where you're supposed to be. I'm not saying that this man broke the law or he wasn't where he was supposed to be. I'm talking about what you teach your children, okay? Because effective justice can only happen if you're right. And that's what I want the kids to know. I'm tired of seeing these young black kids take an L because they didn't know that the first thing they had to do was be right, and be smart. The poor kid who got killed, the other kid, maybe I'll do a video on that. You're on Facebook Live running from the cops, laughing, letting them chase you and cursing them out and shit. I mean, that wasn't going to end well, and then you jump out of the car and you try to run, and who knows what's going on there, right? But the point is teach your children, all right? And make sure that they have an understanding about what they're supposed to do in every situation. Because I was surprised, when my son told me that we saw a cop, so we ran from him. I'm like, whoa, I didn't teach you that. We have to talk. And I talk to my son about everything. So sometimes these things can get away from us, you know what I mean? And we're assuming that they know how to act. We're assuming that they know how to process things. My son is a good kid. There's no reason in the world why he would run, other than the fact that the popular culture that he's growing up in teaches him, and I have to monitor what he listens to more often, all of that. Please, take this as an opportunity, to talk to your child, talk to your loved one. Demonizing cops, that's your call. I don't believe in doing that. I just say that there are some bad ones. There are some terrible cops out there, just like there are some terrible people out there. Not everyone needs to be wearing a badge. That's for fucking sure. So I'm not here to do that. I'm not caping for cops. I'm just saying that for the most part, being lawful wins the day. I'm a big black guy. I didn't get to the age